Hey there, take a breath. It's Friday. From the KUOW newsroom, this is Seattle Now. I'm Patricia Murphy with a roundup of today's top stories. It's March 20th. It's the waiting period now before major flooding is expected on the Snohomish River. Forecasts show the Snohomish could crest and reach major flood stage around 5 p.m. near Monroe and by 3 a.m. tomorrow in Snohomish. In both locations, the water level could start to recede by midday tomorrow. Authorities say expect extensive inundation of water on structures and roads. KUOW is monitoring for evacuation orders. Elsewhere, the Snoqualmie River at Carnation is also flooding, rated in the moderate stage this afternoon. The Skagit River near Concrete and the Stillaguamish at Arlington are expected to reach moderate flood stage tonight at 5. And more weather impacts around the state. 2 landslides forced road crews to close northbound I-5 just south of Bellingham. The slides gave way overnight. WashDOT says there's no estimated reopening time for that stretch of highway as movement on the slope is preventing crews from safely beginning cleanup. Another slide further south was blocking traffic on State Route 11, better known as Chalkonut Drive, but road crews were able to clear that road early this morning. King County could be next in line to limit where ICE can set up operations. The King County Council is scheduled to vote Tuesday on a proposal that would prohibit federal immigration agents from staging on any county property. Seattle implemented a similar policy earlier this month and has placed signs on city parks and other property proclaiming they are off limits as ICE staging areas. Seattle and King County, along with a few neighboring cities, have also passed moratoriums banning any new detention centers in their jurisdictions. More on Mayor Katie Wilson's decision to pause expansion of police surveillance cameras. Local lawmakers are responding to fears that ICE and federal governments could peer through those cameras. Scott Greenstone has more.
On Thursday, Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson made a sort of confusing announcement. She'd pause the expansion of a bunch of police surveillance cameras, except in the Stadium District, where 26 will go in ahead of the World Cup, except those cameras won't be turned on. Except if there's a, quote, credible threat. It's Wilson's effort to find a middle ground between community members who want the cameras to help catch criminals and some of the mayor's dedicated supporters who are worried the federal government can see through the cameras.
Some people will be upset that I am not turning off all the cameras immediately. And others will be upset that I am not charging ahead with turning on more.
Wilson also shut off hundreds of license plate readers on cop cars. All this until an audit figures out if feds can get the footage. The state legislature is also trying to limit federal access to license plate reader data, but some activists say the feds will find ways to access it. A few hours before Wilson's announcement, a handful of protesters interrupted Governor Bob Ferguson at a bill signing.
All cameras are hackable. All surveillance is subpoenable.
Governor Ferguson told reporters later that he understands the protesters' frustrations. Scott Greenstone, KUOW News.
In tech news today, Kent-based Blue Origin is the latest company looking to put AI data centers in space. The company is asking the FCC to let it launch more than 50,000 satellites to provide computing power in orbit. Putting them in space would get around some of the constraints of building data centers on Earth, including restrictions on electricity and water. The Blue Origin satellites would rely on solar power and the cold of space for that. Some national news as Congress debates the Save America Act into the weekend. Washington Secretary of State Steve Hobbs is warning our state will pay the price if lawmakers in D.C. pass the legislation.
Our early estimates show that the overall estimate election costs for the 2026 midterms would increase to $35 to $40 million statewide. That's in November. That's 7 months from now. We are not budgeted for that.
Hobbs joined a group of attorneys general for a virtual meeting yesterday. They argued the technical, operational, and administrative adjustments required to comply with the act would overburden their states, But President Trump and Republicans have argued it's needed to prevent voter fraud, even though there's no evidence of widespread corruption. Democrats say this is an effort to disenfranchise millions of voters. Federal workers have opened offices across Western Washington, offering low-interest disaster loans to people affected by last December's floods. KNKX reporter Mitch Borden has more.
Tucked away in the corner of a library in Snohomish County, the U.S. Small Business Administration has set up a disaster loan outreach center. Mary Ann Bradfield is with the federal agency. She says they're trying to make it easy for people hit by last year's flooding to apply for aid that can go towards home repairs and replacing personal items.
Furniture, clothes, your automobile, little things that you don't think about that you need.
Homeowners can potentially access hundreds of thousands of dollars with these loans. Bradfield says this can help people avoid credit card debt and give them time to figure out what's next.
We also have 12 months without interest or payments required to give everybody a chance to get back on their feet.
The deadline to apply for property damage assistance is April 27th. I'm Mitch Borden, reporting.
Lime scooter riders, wheels to the road. GeekWire reports the company is going to start using cameras and AI technology this summer to monitor rider behavior. If people are riding where they're not supposed to, like on the sidewalk, an alert will sound and the Lime app will tell the rider to move to a safer location. GeekWire says this same type of alert system will eventually be applied to Lime's e-bike fleet. And a nice note to end on this Friday. Woodland Park Zoo says their 2 newest female lion cubs have been named. Community members voted to name one of the South African lion cubs Kamari, which means moon in Swahili. The other cub was named Zawadi, which means gift in Swahili. These are the first lion babies to be born in the zoo since 2014. Their dad was also born at the zoo, making Kamari and Zawadi third-generation Woodland Park cubs. The babies and mom are bonding in the off-view maternity den. They'll be separated from dad until they're just a bit older. Zoo officials say they'll be introduced to the public once they get a little stronger. Next week on Seattle Now, we'll look into why thousands of crows stopped roosting at UW-Bothell after being there for years.
This was a spontaneous move, and so it's unusual. These happen, but they just haven't been well documented.
More on this murder mystery Monday morning. That's all for today from the KUOW newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Vaughn Jones. I'm Patricia Murphy. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. Have a great weekend.